Now that we've learned about some of the features of all these different e-readers and maybe came a little closer to making a decision about which one is right for you, let's hear some questions from some of our viewers. I have a Kindle. Is it possible for me to share e-books with my friends? Well, that's a terrific question, and definitely a selling point, since if you had a regular book, you would absolutely be sharing it with your friend. Fortunately, if you have a Kindle or a Nook, or the Kindle or Nook app on your iPad, iPhone, or Android phone, now it is possible for you to share books with your friends. If you're sharing a book, you can loan it out for a period of 14 days. During those 14 days, you won't be able to access the book on your Kindle or Nook, just as if you had actually shared the book, a live book. Now, there's a way of telling which books you can and cannot share because unfortunately, you can't share all books. On Amazon, you would see this in the product details. If you were on Amazon.com and they have all the information lending enabled. So this particular book you are permitted to share. There are many books that unfortunately they don't permit for you to share. Bestsellers, new editions, things like that. If you have more than one Kindle or several Kindles perhaps in your family that are all on the same shared account, those books can also be shared. But again, they have to be on the same account with the same credit card information for you to be able to share them back and forth. But if the book has lending enabled, you can even share it with a friend. You would simply go to that page on Amazon and you would click on, I'd like to lend my book. And they're going to ask you for the name and email address of the person that you would like to lend the book to. And once that's all set, the person will be sent the ebook, and as I mentioned, you won't have access to that ebook for 14 days. Here's another question. Reading books are great, but to be honest, my favorite thing are to read magazines. Can I get magazine subscriptions on my Nook? Absolutely. If you're a big magazine reader, you're definitely going to want one of the color e-readers. But let's take a look and see what a magazine looks like on this. I think you'll like the way it looks. Here's a magazine now. All of the different pages of the magazine are here in full color. I think it looks great. You can buy single issue magazines or even get a full subscription. Generally, magazine subscriptions for an e-reader are a little bit less than the print edition, since they don't have to print all those pages. And unlike magazines, you can carry these with you and carry even hundreds of issues with you and keep them forever, and they'll never look ratty. So magazines are a great idea for your color e-reader. Our next question asks, is it possible to take out library books for my e-reader? Well, fortunately, now it is, and that's a new development. Both the Kindle and the Nook and their respective apps, the Kindle app and the Nook app that you can get for an iPad, an iPhone, or an Android, now support library books. There are different websites for your local library that you can go to, and they use a program called Overdrive that you'll log in with your library card, and you can borrow books and they'll be downloaded right to your device. I have here on the screen the links for the New York Public Library, the Nassau County Library, the Suffolk County Library, and the Queens Library. Of course, these are long, long links. So just go to technicallyspeakingtv.com and you'll be able to just click on the link and go and visit your local library. And you're looking for the ebooks or the Overdrive section. Have your library card available so you can punch in the number, and you can borrow books for your e-reader just as easily as you can go to the library. Even easier. You don't need to find a parking space. Here's one more question about all of these different devices that we have here. My children often like to use my device, sometimes to play games. I'm a little concerned, though, that they might be purchasing books or other things. Is there something I can do about that? Well, this is an absolute true problem. This has been especially with the color readers and the iPad that are just chock full of games. If we look here on this iPad, well, we were looking at all the reading things, but to be honest, there are just as many fun things to be doing on this iPad. iPads have become one of the most popular babysitters, shall we say, for children. I've seen children as young as 3 sitting around playing Angry Birds and such on an iPad. So while you might have it for business or for reading, if you pass it off to a child, they will have access to be able to play these different things, and in some cases to pay for and download things because you've input a credit card already. It is a problem that the different companies are working on right now, whether it's Kindle or Nook or the iPad. They're all trying to cover those holes while still making it easy for you. Just as I pointed out when we were shopping, if I wanted to buy a book on this iPad, all I would have to do is click on the store. And I'm in, and I'll see bookshelves full of books that I can purchase. Well, if I can do it that easily, so can a child. So it is something that you want to be aware of. The iPad itself, as do all of these other devices, can be outfitted with a password. This way, no one can just pick it up and start touching it without your permission. They would need the password. But you do want to make sure that you always have an eye out and maybe even discuss with your children in advance what they can and cannot do without your permission. Next thing you know, you'll be getting a big bill, and we wouldn't want that to happen. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our segment all about e-readers here on Technically Speaking. Remember to please visit us at technicallyspeakingtv.com. We'll have all of the links to the different libraries, some guides on choosing the e-reader that's best for you, and you could write in with your questions that we could feature on our next episode of Technically Speaking. Thanks for joining us.